Former Governor General, Deputy Prime Minister, Cabinet Minister, and Parliamentarian, the Honorable Arthur Dion Hanna, laying in state in the foyer of the House of Assembly. Governor General Sir Cornelius A. Smith, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, former Prime Ministers Hubert Ingram and Perry Christie, current and past parliamentarians and members of the Hanna family all paid their respects to one of the country's founding fathers. A.D. Hanna, as he was affectionately called, was a longtime member of the Progressive Liberal Party, PLP, and represented the Annestown constituency. As former leader of the PLP, Mr. Christie reflected on Mr. Hanna's legacy.
A.D. Hanna was one of a kind. He demonstrated in his public life how one can be the best one can be, with awesome love for the country manifested in the policies that he really pursued and articulated. And after majority rule, he persuaded and cajoled his colleagues to move to independence, and eventually we did it. Secondly, A.D. Hanna was a quintessential Bahamian. He became synonymous with Bahamianization, the policy of Bahamianization.
The former parliamentarian hailed from Pompey Bay, Acklands, and was a member of Parliament from 1960 to 1992, during which time Mr. Hanna held a number of significant cabinet portfolios. In 2006, he was appointed Governor General of the Bahamas. He was an attorney by profession. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram also reflected on Mr. Hanna's legacy.
Played a critical role in my own political development and the development of the Bahamas. He's truly a patriot who believed in the Bahamas and in Bahamians, and who lived that belief in all the policies he put in place and implemented. It was always Bahamians up front. And he promoted senior public officers and Bahamians to take positions that had previously been occupied by English persons and non-Bahamians. He was the first Minister of Education under the PLP government, and provided scholarships to countless Bahamians to go to the University of the West Indies, people like the President.
A state funeral for Mr. Hanna will be held on Thursday, August 26 at Christ Church Cathedral, George Street at 11 a.m. For candidates in this upcoming general elections, the battle on the ground to convince residents to vote for them and their party has begun in earnest, with just 24 days before voters mark their X in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Parties will not be able to engage in some of the traditional campaigning. In this report by Jerino Saunders, we learn a bit more about the candidates from the Garden Hills constituency.
As we take a look at the Garden Hills constituency last held by the FNM's Brenzel Roll, experts expect to see a hotly contested race. In recent elections, both the PLP and the FNM have laid claim to the Garden Hills constituency, but this time around, the DNA and Coalition of Independents are hoping to shake things up. As a means of helping constituents to get to know their candidates amidst the COVID restrictions, we expect to hear from each candidate on their vision for the Garden Hills constituency and for the country. In this report, we hear from Mario Boleg, the PLP's candidate for Garden Hills, who admitted there has been some bumps in the road, but overall, the campaign and the reception on the ground has been very good.
The reception is great, and I am very confident that as I continue to do the work that I've been doing in the community for 2019 prior to COVID and even now, being there for the people, being a servant for the people, and providing them with the necessary need that was in my power to do, and assist wherever I could. At the end of the day, Jerino, I've been serving this nation and building this nation for over years through sports with the youths, mentoring the youths, and it's just now a matter of taking it to the next level where I can have maybe more resources to be able to help more people.
Mr. Boleg says it is his goal to help form policies and programs to minimize some of the antisocial behavior and reduce some of the barricades that prevent the average person from gaining economic wealth. Asked where would he see himself being most effective should he win and the PLP becomes the government, Mr. Boleg says he would be willing to work in any number of ministries.
I am very versatile. Everybody knows my passion is in sports. Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture will definitely have a perfect fit for me. But my career and profession is in finance. Anything in finance I think you can put me in. And also when you look at my sporting background and what we have done as the president of the Federation in the growth and an expansion of sports tourism through basketball in this country. And you look at sports tourism, that's an aspect of tourism, I can go there.
With that said, Bowleg would not box himself into any one position and noted that he also has a passion for education, having worked closely with student athletes for over 27 years. At the party level, we asked Mr. Bowleg, what would he say to potential voters to convince them to support the PLP and that party leader Philip Brave Davis would make a good prime minister?
And when you look at a person leader like Brave Davis is a more competent and compassionate leader as compared to the others. I believe that when people get to know who truly he is, and I think the negative aspect of people talking about Brave Davis, we go on these things, but we never stop and ask ourselves the question, show me facts and proof of these things. The PLP will be the best choice. That's your change. And for the new millennials who wants person to be there and understand their pain, give us your chance.
Mr. Bowleg went on to say that Mr. Davis is a collaborative type of leader that engages and involves the experts around him. We expect to hear from other candidates in the Garden Hills constituency, including the independent candidate Richmond McKinney, the DNA's Derek Smith, and Stephen Greenslade, who will be the flag bearer for the Free National Movement. Efforts have been made to reach each candidate. Jorino Saunders for JCN News.
You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.